This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie or show review, and what we're getting into next. We are your hosts,
Cheryl
and Jay.
All right. Congratulations to us because we have hit episode 10.
Yay.
Apparently there's some stat that says most podcasts don't make it to episode 10. So I was very excited that we did it. So go us. All right. So our trivia for this week is related to Ahsoka, which is what we are reviewing this week. The Disney Plus show just wrapped up this past Tuesday. Yes. So we waited. I think we did a episode, like first episode reactions. And now we are ready to recap the whole thing. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Who voiced Chopper in the Rebels show? So Rebels is where Ahsoka is from. So it's another Star Wars show.
Yeah, but Chopper doesn't talk.
Sir, the trivia question is, who voiced Chopper? Now, Chopper, if you didn't watch Ahsoka or Rebels, Chopper's a droid, which is why he's saying
R2-D2 droid.
It's a C-3PO talk, right? Yes.
Yes.
So, yes, it's like a R2-D2 situation where it's kind of beep, beep, boop, booping.
Okay.
But somebody actually voiced that. And to give you a hint, the person is involved in the Ahsoka show.
Involved in the Ahsoka show?
Yes, they're a part of the Ahsoka show.
Are they a cast or just...
They're involved.
Dave Filoni?
Dang it. It's supposed to be harder than
that's the only other person that can be involved.
Dave Filoni, who is the director of Ahsoka and Rebels.
Okay.
Well, he's a creator of Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. He voiced Chopper. And the big thing about it was if you watch Rebels, you didn't know until the series finale. Now, how he voices Chopper is beyond me. Because Chopper is a droid, so he's just beep beep and boop.
Where did they say that in the series finale?
In the series finale of Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he voiced quotes in all of Rebels.
Gotcha.
He was the voice. I'm trying to think who else. No, he's kind of like Groot.
Groot talks though.
He just says, "I am Groot."
Chopper is just like a low tone beeps. You're right, I guess. But okay.
Yeah. So that is our trivia for this week. So if you didn't know, now you know.
Okay, let's get into the episode. Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun dun dun. Okay, so this week's agenda is short, long, medium. I don't know, y'all. We can talk, so we can make it as long as we want. But for this week, we're talking about a little bit more about the SAG strike, which is not quite over yet. Mm-hmm. Beyonce's coming! Yay! We do have a good amount of trailers that came out this week. Loki season 2 finally started on Thursday. Yes. Just yesterday, because today's Friday. We're recording on Friday this week. Mm-hmm. And then we're talking about Ahsoka. So it sounds like we're getting straight to the point, but trust me, we'll get into it.
Okay, so the SAG-AFTRA strike is still going on, even though the WGA has reached a tentative deal. Well, actually, I don't even think it's tentative. I believe they signed.
Yeah, I think they just have to vote, make the official vote. But writers are back. They're doing their thing. There's been news about which shows and whatnot are starting back up.
Any shows that don't have union actors or have a SAG waiver, can resume filming.
Right, which I don't know how many. I mean, I know there's waivers for independent movies, but basically Hollywood is still at a standstill.
There's a lot because SAG was the one that was giving waivers to everybody. They were handing out waivers like hotcakes.
Because Ferrari was one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any show during the strike,
I think might have been another one.
Any show during the strike that continued to show at film festivals,
right.
Those productions were given a waiver. I believe Saturday Night Live was given a waiver as well.
Were they?
Because they're resuming filming. It's never really clear.
Oh, but okay, you're right. But are they right?
Well, they were on strike when the WGA was striking because it is a scripted show.
Right, but now they're back
because the writers are back. The actors got a pass because they got a waiver.
You're right, because Bad Bunny is doing he's the host.
I think it's
and
Pete
the
Davidson.
guest. Okay.
And Bad Bunny are going to be doing.
You're right. I did see that, and I didn't even think of how could they.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how that works, but okay, y'all.
So yeah, SAG was the one that was giving everybody waivers. The writers are back. They can go back to writing scripts. They can go back to announcing and resuming pre-production on a lot of shows that don't have scripts yet.
They can rewrite.
They can start hearing pitches.
Yep.
But they can't actually start holding auditions or speaking to actors yet. And actors who are already signed to films cannot go back to work yet. But writing and rewrites can be done, yes.
Yep. So talks happened on Monday, Wednesday, and today. Although I didn't see anything about what happened today. But
I believe they said that they're going to resume next Wednesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they didn't reach a deal today. Word on the Twitter is that it's not going as smoothly for the SAG-AFTRA.
I was going to say, it doesn't seem like it's getting wrapped up as fast as the writer strike did.
Yeah. There are some other things that SAG asked for in their negotiations. I believe one of the things that's taken just a little bit longer. I believe one of the things were they're asking to do paid auditions. So they're asking to be paid for auditions.
Interesting.
So that
they also don't want things like their likeness being used against their will.
Yeah, their likeness being used against their will.
Probably
they
some
also
AI
want
in there too.
They also want an increase on a lot of the fees. For example, they get guaranteed. Actors are supposed to get a guaranteed lunch break after a certain number of hours of filming, and they want to increase on the fee for not giving them those breaks. Basically, there's a penalty that a production company gets hit with if they don't give out a certain number of breaks, and they want to increase the fees on stuff like that.
And residuals.
And residuals, streaming residuals, to be more specific. So yeah, it's not going as smoothly. They're expecting it to go on into November. That's what I've heard. So
it's gonna be a long fall.
It is. It's gonna be a very long fall. So.
I think I wonder what's the cutoff for certain movies coming out first quarter next year that aren't done, aka dip.
I don't know, because apparently it's been affecting the economy.
Yeah.
In California, and the government is in talks to not in talks, but the government is attempting to also step in and mediate and negotiate to get this resolved as quickly as possible, because it is affecting revenue, especially in Los Angeles and Hollywood. So I don't know.
We'll see. Maybe next week we'll have something different. But yeah, so Hollywood is only halfway done with these strikes.
Yeah.
And they continue. All right, on to happier news. Dun, 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 dun. Beyonce is coming. And by that, I mean in the movie theaters.
Yes.
She is already on her tour. Tour wrapped up. So it leaked the day before her last show where Beyonce was coming out with a film distributed through AMC instead of going through a studio like Disney or Netflix like she's done in the past. It got leaked, which I'm sure her team was kind of like, we can't keep nothing. Or maybe they did it on purpose to create buzz. I don't know.
Probably just to let people know that it's to expect something to
tidbit.
come. Yeah.
But then before her show in Kansas City, when she came out on stage, there was a countdown clock that everybody started posting. Like Parkwood posted it, her publicist posted it, the dancers started. And the countdown didn't end until like 2 a.m. Sunday morning. Yeah. No, Monday morning.
Yeah, Monday.
So I set my clock, of course, so I can go to sleep and wake back up because I work. And basically it was an announcement that her tour film, it was called Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. That is the official name of it. Speculation is that it is a documentary / tour film / maybe visuals.
Okay.
Hopefully visuals. It's only, I shouldn't say only, it's 2.5 hours. And the concert's pushing 3 hours. So it can't be a 1-for-1 the whole concert. It could be a homecoming situation.
Well, the concert is 3 hours including breaks.
Correct, including interludes, intermissions where she's changing her clothes. But I don't know how it would be weird if she did like the cuff it performance in the concert and then showed a visual. Like, how do you even do that?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be visuals. I don't
think we're getting them.
No,
it's been 400 years. But listen, we already got our tickets. Obviously, we're going to go see it. It's opening weekend. But you're right. I don't think it's or maybe she'll do like a surprise drop of the visuals after.
I don't think so.
No, we're not getting that. There was a leak of. What leak did you send me? Was it Virgo's Groove? It looked like she was filming Virgo's Groove or something.
There were leaked snippets of Virgo's Groove.
And it
Like,
looked like
somebody had recorded them on their
it got
phone or something.
swiped from the internet, so you can't even find it now. I should have at least kept a screenshot of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Probably not visuals, but we get a film. Probably it's gonna be like Homecoming, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's gonna be alongside. It's gonna be you're gonna get the tour DVD, but on the big screen. So it's gonna be a mix of documentary and with scenes of performances.
Yeah.
It may not be every performance on the tour.
I think she might, yeah.
Because
interesting.
If it's 2 hours and it's supposed to be half documentary.
2.5.
2.5 hours.
Get
and
the
it's supposed
30.
to be half documentary. You may not get every performance, but I think it'll be the same as her other tour DVDs. Absolutely.
Yeah. So just as awesome.
Yeah, it's still good.
It's coming out. Well, tickets are on sale now for USA, Canada, Mexico. It comes out December 1st then. They say it's going to have a global release.
Yes, it is expected to go global.
So that will be pretty awesome.
Which I don't think Taylor Swift's is.
I have no idea.
I think Taylor Swift's is US only.
Y'all, if y'all are Taylor Swift fans and we don't know this information, please don't review Bombers.
I think so. That's what I heard, but I could be incorrect.
Good luck to her if it is.
Could change. It could change and go global, but yeah.
Right. But some box office numbers. Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, estimated a first day pre-sales around 6 to 7 million. That is similar to pre-sale box office numbers for Avatar, which is 5.5, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is 6, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was 6.5 million.
So it's on par with other blockbuster films that came out this year.
Giselle's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. So yeah, we won't do a whole episode for that because we've seen it.
Yeah.
You should go see it. It was a great tour. And I can't wait to see the behind the scene footage. And maybe not get the visuals.
Yeah, you're absolutely not going to get the visuals.
Oh,
I think you shouldn't go in expecting visuals, but just go in expecting
a good time.
A streamlined version of the concert.
Yeah, absolutely. A good time.
And some of the best moments from every tour stop.
Absolutely.
So if you didn't get to see like some of her special guests that she had in certain cities, they'll probably have those performance clips in the actual film as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gonna be a good time. I'm sure people are gonna show up in their spring.
She's also directing it.
Of course.
So she directed it herself as well.
She's the queen.
And I don't know, we might see, there have been discussion about other artists doing this because apparently it's easier to do. Usually with films, you have to have a production house that backs it to negotiate like all the ins and outs of how to go into cinemas. And you have Beyonce and other artists who are doing this and they're just funding it themselves because they have the money. They don't have to go through like Warner Brothers or any other big production house.
That and the fact that there's a strike going on where the studios are not being reasonable. So why would you want to negotiate with a studio right now?
And it's cheaper to do because
you cutting out that
they're just sending
middleman.
Well, yeah, they're cutting out a middleman. They are just sending a digital copy of the film that's already made in-house out to theaters. So all the theaters have to do is plug and play. They don't have to hook it up to like a reel or a projection or anything like that.
They are also considered special events. So the tickets for these type of films are higher than your typical matinee or I don't know, XD IMAX ticket. Not terribly more expensive, but it is considered a special event. And they don't show during the week, which is also very interesting. It's only on the weekends. And
it's cheaper to promote this because they don't have to run ads. Usually when you're putting a film in theaters, it's twice the budget. You spend the same amount of money on promotion as you do on basically making the film.
And we know Giselle's not promoting this film.
No. And
we got an IG post. That's it.
Artists in general don't pay as much for promo. Most artist promotion is via fandom. So, and she has the Beehive that is able to run promotion for this entire thing. So,
right, we got that
smart business move.
We got that one trailer. Now the theaters will market it because they want people to come to their theater. So that's where she's gonna get. They're going to do the market, but it's outside the fandom. Yeah. The theaters are going to market it because they want people to come see it.
Right.
All she's going to do is post that IG post.
Right. But that's I think that's the theaters coming out of pocket for that.
Oh, so, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
They want the fandoms in their seats.
So yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm interested to see if people are going to dress up again and
Oh, I
go
think
see it
so.
at the movie theaters.
Listen, can we get a popcorn bucket?
Somebody also did make a great point that it's going to be playing alongside other films like Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be very interesting hearing loud concert music play in the theater next door while you're like watching a Martin Scorsese film.
There is a movie that we're going to talk about in trailers that comes out the exact same day. And I was like, y'all, there is a marketing thing here and y'all are missing it.
Yeah.
Y'all are missing it. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I think people are going to dress up. I think it's going to be chaos and debauchery and all around great times in the theater when all the songs come on.
Yeah.
And there should at least be a popcorn bucket because I'm still upset that I missed the Little Mermaid popcorn bucket, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I needs me a popcorn bucket. AMC, get it together.
All right, we got a couple trailers this week. The first one is for Thanksgiving. This was a slasher film we talked about on a previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
We got a full-length trailer for it after receiving a teaser for it a few weeks ago. It stars Patrick Dempsey and Addison Rae, who
she's a TikTok star, right?
Yeah, she's famous from being on TikTok.
So interesting to me.
And she doesn't have a lot of movie roles and or acting roles, period.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be her big screen break.
All right.
It comes out November 17th, which is just a few days before Thanksgiving. And what did you think of the trailer?
It looks like a good, how can I say? It looks like a good time.
It looks good. It is a exact beat for beat carbon copy of My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, you really like that one, don't you?
It's exact. I actually want you to watch it. It's only like an hour and a half, and it's like an 80s. It's like an 80s slasher. It's in the same vein as Scream, but it's much slower because filmmaking in the 80s wasn't as click clacking as it was by the time they came around with Scream. But I actually want you to watch it.
My Bloody Valentine?
Yeah.
Okay.
One, because it's entertaining.
Okay.
It's a good slasher. It's very extremely campy. But it's
good.
It's so, because this Thanksgiving movie looks extremely campy. Like there's a scene where somebody's being killed with corn holders. Getting plugged in their ears. So yeah, it's very campy, but I want you to watch My Bloody Valentine. It's a very short movie, but it's so similar. You can even...
Now, what was My Bloody Time? What was My Bloody Valentine about? Oh, that's kind of a tongue twister.
So My Bloody Valentine was it was a revenge slasher.
Okay.
It was about a small town that really celebrated Valentine's Day, really hardcore. Like it did they had a Valentine's Day dance every year in this town. But one year it's a mining town. It's a very small mining town. One year they were having a Valentine's Day dance. While they were having the dance, there were some miners who were trapped in a mining explosion.
Okay.
One guy survived.
Okay.
And as revenge for basically the supervisors who were supposed to be on watch for them, also going to the dance and not being in the mine, watching their backs. Everybody in the mine died except for one guy. Okay. So the guy came back the next year and basically
it was revenge.
He wanted to murder everybody involved in the negligence that caused them all to get killed and trapped in the mine.
He survived, but was it like a Mike Myers situation where
he wasn't invincible?
Okay.
No. He just survived the explosion, got sent to a mental ward.
Okay.
But he was crazy and he wanted revenge. So the way this Thanksgiving trailer plays out, it's the exact same. It's a small town. I don't think it's a mining town.
No, it's just like a small cornfield.
They go up. This town goes up really hard for Thanksgiving. And instead of it being a mining explosion, what happens is it's a Black Friday stampede. Yeah. And a bunch of people get killed or maimed and injured in this Black Friday stampede to get into the superstore for the sales. And there's a mystery as to who the killer is. They say in the trailer, it's revenge. Whoever this is killing people that were involved in the Black Friday stampede that caused him to get a lot of people to get. Patrick Dempsey plays the sheriff, who's one of the main characters who's doing investigations on the murder. Just like in My Bloody Valentine, the main character was a sheriff who was doing investigation to try to figure out who was doing the killings.
It looks not too scary. So it's
it looks like it's
your
hilarious.
typical slasher.
The movie opens up
kind of level of scary.
Yeah, not the movie. The trailer opens up with a lady. I don't know if she's the first victim or not, but it opens up with this lady waking up tied to a dinner table.
Yeah, she's on a table.
It
looked like she's a pilgrim.
With dinner food around her.
Yeah.
She's dressed up as a pilgrim. And then there's a scene where she wakes up and she's inside an oven being roasted like a turkey. Like I said, there's
campy
there's a scene of somebody getting the killer showing up behind somebody and jamming corn cob holders in their ears.
Kind of gross. You could survive that though, maybe.
Well, it doesn't look like it kills her. It makes her deaf.
Yes, you're not hearing after that situation.
So it looks very campy. It looks very fun.
Somebody gets stuffed in a freezer. I saw that.
Somebody gets stuffed in a freezer. Somebody gets stuffed in an oven. And
I saw the meat tenderizer.
There's a meat tenderizer scene. It looks like the main characters are going to be some high school kids.
Yes, I saw. It looks like a Letterman jacket type situation.
Yeah. So it looks very Scream slasher. I Know What You Did Last Summer. It almost looks closer to I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Plot wise. Well, no, I think it's maybe
because I Know What You Did Last Summer was a revenge slasher because they thought that they had killed the guy when they hit him with the car.
But this time it seems like people were just caught up in a stampede versus people getting killed and then people trying to hide it.
Right.
Situation.
Yeah. So I'm interested in it. It looks good. It looks fun. It looks campy.
It does.
It looks like it's a bit of a comedy as well.
I don't think it's a take me too seriously type of horror movie.
No, absolutely not. So
at all.
Yeah.
I'm curious why it's not coming out in October. It comes out November 17th if you're curious.
I think it's because it's Thanksgiving.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's
why would a Thanksgiving movie not come out in October? That's the silliest thing ever.
Movies that come out around Halloween don't do well because people don't go to the movie theaters during Halloween.
They're doing rewatches and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, they go to parties and they go trick-or-treating. They don't go sit in movie theaters for the Halloween holiday. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's why they never have movies that come out typically like on Halloween or that weekend.
So The Exorcist was just doomed to fail, huh?
Yeah, that was just a bad decision. Yeah.
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about that because the Exorcist movie came out this weekend? I don't know.
This past weekend.
It's not doing great.
No.
And it's not reviewed very great either. So,
no.
Yeah, we're going to scroll on past as if that movie didn't come out. Next trailer is called The Beekeeper. Did you watch this one?
I did.
Now, I said that this movie... This is the movie I mentioned earlier where I said it's coming out January 12th. And I'll get to what it is in a second. But a Beekeeper movie coming out the same weekend as a Beyonce movie sounds like that would have been a great marketing ploy. I mean, come on. Not that the audience would have overlapped a lot, but I feel like it would have got people in the mood.
It would have been.
Maybe. But synopsis. Jason Statham's being Jason Statham in a bee costume. That's stupid. In a beekeeper, costume.
That probably would have been better.
At least would have been maybe different.
Yeah.
But yes, The Beekeeper is basically... What's another Jason Statham movie where he's killing people? There was one movie where he got really popular.
There's a lot of them.
Is it that many?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine the Meg out of the water, and instead of working with sharks, he works with bees. And apparently he's a beekeeper for Felicia Rashad. And something happens to her.
She commits suicide.
Is that what it is?
Did you watch the trailer?
I did, but I know that she's not alive because he said she was and I was like, so why are we killing Felicia Rashad?
The plot of the movie, according to the trailer,
is
that
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Felicia Rashad plays an older woman who owns a bee plantation.
Yes, correct.
Jason Statham works on the bee plantation.
Bee farm.
Bee farm. I don't know the proper bee farm.
Yeah, farm. Let's go with farm.
They have a like a mother-son type of relationship.
Yes,
where
it looks like they're very close.
He came from a dark place. She really took care of him and was the only person in his life that really cared for him. She gets hit with a computer virus.
I saw
from hackers.
Yes.
Who target? It seems like they target
elderly
people.
I picked that up
to steal their money.
Yes.
So she was hit with a computer virus that steals all of her money, and because of that, she commits suicide.
I missed that part of the trailer.
So the rest of the movie is Jason Statham going on a revenge killing spree to hunt down the hackers who have been targeted her and have been doing it to other elderly people across the world or country or whatever.
Why does he have to be a beekeeper?
I don't know why he has to be a beekeeper.
He could literally be anybody.
It seems like he's obviously ex-military.
Of course he is.
As well. And
he's
that's
formerly
the plot
James
of the movie.
Bond, of course.
Yeah.
Why would he not be? And then turned into a beekeeper because he had a bad job or something.
Yeah. So
it looks a little too goofy.
It looks bad.
It looks. I'm normally about a good fun action movie, but it does not look like fun. I'm sorry.
The reason that it looks so bad is because it was directed by David Ayer.
I knew you were gonna say that. That's why I put it in here.
Which is very funny because for people who don't know who David Ayer is the director of the first Suicide Squad, starring Margot Robbie and Will Smith.
Correct, the one that
and Cara Delevingne. The very first, she was the villain.
Oh, right.
And Viola Davis.
Yep.
And he was the person who hired Jared Leto to be the Joker in the first place. He's the reason we got Jared Leto Joker.
He's the one who directed it. You don't have to even go past that.
And David Ayer is also the same person who's been campaigning ever since the Suicide Squad came out and bombed for them to give him an Ayer cut of the movie because he claims that his cut of the movie is much better than the cut of the movie that the studio released.
Sir.
So
I don't know about that.
Now I would like it to be fully solidified
that he can't direct.
That he cannot direct. And this is exactly why no one gives him money to do anything.
Jason Statham is definitely in his I'm gonna do it phase. And you know what? If it puts food on his table, fine. He's picked his lane.
This isn't even about Jason Statham because at least Jason Statham does bad movies and doesn't go around trying to convince everybody that they're good. We know Jason Statham is a working actor, so we can't fault him for doing cheesy movies because that's what he's done.
That's his lane.
David Ayer did Training Day, and he hasn't done anything good since.
Did he do Training Day?
David Ayer wrote Training Day.
Oh, okay.
Didn't direct it, but he wrote it, and it was an Oscar-winning film.
That's fair. Hey, so writers deserve credit.
He can write.
Really? He wrote Training Day.
He also did End of Watch, which was the cop movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. That was a good movie.
That and I say, oh my gosh, not because it was bad, because that is the movie that stuck with you.
Because the way it ended.
Correct.
But he did that movie, and that was also very good. But he just doesn't have a history of doing good films. He also did Bright with Will Smith, which was the movie about the trolls and the fairies
Netflix special,
and
right?
Racism. Racism was over, but it only applied to
I didn't even watch that.
Goblin people and fairies or whatever.
Nope.
Yeah, I want this to be a definitive answer to the fact that David Ayer cannot direct. I don't want to hear any more noise about release the Ayer cut.
Somebody wants to watch it, I'm sure.
Please, by God, keep it and never release it. This B movie looks awful.
It doesn't look good. I thought when I saw the clip, when it came up in my feed, I was like, oh, this looks like a good time. But then I was like, so did the Meg too.
Well,
and I've been fooled once.
And the thing with Jason Statham is I was never really into Jason Statham movies because they were all along this line of movie. And the Meg was along this line of movie,
right?
But it was actually good and entertaining, and I'm starting to think that the reason I like the Meg so much was less about Jason Statham, is more about the shark. I just like the movie because the shark was in it.
Yeah, and it just wasn't as dumb of a plot. I mean, I hate to say that because it's a huge shark, and there's Sharknado, and then there's the Meg. Like, there's a difference there.
Had Meg 2 been good, I would have been like, sure, I'll give Jason Statham
not after this trailer.
A third movie because he gave me 2 good ones, but he burned me with the Meg 2.
I'm looking through his catalog. I'm like, what other Jason Statham movies do I? Italian Job, Transporter. That's what I was trying to think of earlier.
He's done a lot of Transporter movies. None of those were good. But
I know.
Italian Job was good, but Italian Job was an ensemble cast film. So it wasn't just because it's Jason Statham.
Oh, you're right. And Fast and Furious is also ensemble cast.
And I feel like that doesn't count because even bad actors are good in a Fast and Furious movie.
Correct.
Or at least entertaining in a Fast and Furious movie.
And I actually never have seen The Expendables, so I can't tell you if he's good in that or not.
Well, you definitely won't see this 4th one because I hear it's the living worst.
Listen, you know what? The year end is kind of ending a little weird with movie quality. Hopefully November, December kind of kicks it back up. So we won't be reviewing this on the podcast.
I won't be reviewing this on the podcast. I don't even think I'll see it because I didn't go see other Jason Statham movies. He really got me with the Meg one, and then he really burned me with that second one. So he's right back to where he started.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm. You know what? We'll see. I'll see when it comes out, and if people say it's worth like the stream, I'll give it a stream. Maybe
if I hear that it's as good as the Meg, I'll definitely give it a stream. But I absolutely won't be putting my money. Even if it wasn't Jason Statham, I'm not giving David Ayer a single dollar out of my wallet.
That's it. No more. You're dead to me. All right. Well, if you want to see The Beekeeper, that should be coming out the same weekend as Beyonce for marketing purposes. But it's not. It's coming out January 12th. So it's around the corner, kind of. We'll see if it keeps that date.
It probably would have come out this year, but because of the strike, they had to push it back so they could have time to market it.
I was going to say it doesn't matter.
So they can actually run trailers for it. So
yeah. He kind of need a win, though, because the man didn't do All right. I was going to say Jason, but you might be.
Both of them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right. Next trailer is Silent Nights, which stars Joel Kinnaman, who is from, I most remember him from House of Cards.
Okay.
But he is also from The Suicide Squad.
Both of them.
Are they?
He plays the same character in both
Suicide you're right.
Squads,
he was in both Suicide Squads. And this movie is about a guy whose son gets killed, and it looks like a drive-by.
Is it just his son?
I think it's just his son. He's holding his son in the trailer, and it looks like he has a wife that's kind of like screaming because his son got killed. And basically, it's a revenge movie. But the kicker for this movie is there's no dialogue, or he doesn't speak. I don't know if he doesn't speak.
No, I think there's no dialogue.
Yeah,
there's
so
no
in the trailer,
in the movie.
It's dialogue free. So nobody talks.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how that's going to work
out. I think the whole movie is like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more advertised as there's no spoken dialogue.
So it's not a silent movie. It's a non-dialogue movie. And I don't know if.
Which would make sense if he was deaf.
I don't think he does.
It seems like he loses his voice in the shooting.
Is that
he
what
gets shot in the throat and he loses his ability to speak?
Everybody else can talk.
Right. So that's why it makes more sense for it to be a dialogue-free film if he's deaf, because it's like he can't hear. So if we're watching the film from his perspective, we can't hear either. But it seems
it's a different concept.
It is.
It's a different concept. The director of this is actually kind of interesting. So the director is John Woo, who is known for Face Off, great movie. Broken Arrow, also a great movie. Have you ever seen Broken Arrow?
No, but the theme song from Broken Arrow is Dewey's theme song in Scream.
It is.
Yeah.
You are correct.
I do know that.
He also has done movies. I'm trying to think of what else. Those are Mission Impossible. Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
The best Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible 2. The least favorite Mission Impossible on anybody.
It's the best Mission Impossible.
Don't say that. That's not true. You know that's a lie. So I mean, John Woo is known for his directing action movies.
He's known for his action.
He's known for his action movies. I don't know what other movie has ever been dialogue free. So I'm not sure what the reception on this is going to be.
I haven't seen one, no.
I don't. How do you feel? Are you going to go see this?
Oh, he did The Replacement Killers.
Oh, I think I remember that movie.
Yeah. That was with Chow Yun-Fat.
Yes. So he got a catalog.
I will go see this because I actually do like Joel Kinnaman movies.
I do like him.
You haven't seen it, but he was also in RoboCop.
I can see him being RoboCop though.
RoboCop was a great film.
I can see his mouth in the RoboCop mouth cutout.
Yeah,
he got the perfect mouth for that.
Yeah, he was in the RoboCop reboot, which you should watch because there's a lot of people in it that you like.
Okay.
Joel Kinnaman, Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh Lord, that is an interesting cast right there. It's giving me a Fifth Element. I don't know why. Maybe because Gary Oldman. It just sounds like it's a Fifth Element vibe movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Kind of.
No, not really. Because it's based on Earth and like the real world.
Okay.
I guess Fifth Element was based.
Is
on
it like
Earth.
a modern day? Is it like now?
It's like a modern future. It would be more closer to today's.
Okay.
It came out in 2014, but it would be closer
to
looks
like today.
2023 technology, especially with like AI and stuff like that.
Okay.
Also stars Michael K. Williams. So you should see the 2014 RoboCop. Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm interested to see what the reception is going to be like on this because this is a different kind of movie.
He does good action. He's also in the Nicolas Cage movie, The Sympathy for the Devil, where he plays the taxi driver for Nicolas Cage, who is a hitman, which is just like the Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx movie.
I really like that movie, and the name is escaping me. That's one of Tom Cruise's best movies.
Collateral.
And there it is. That is one of That's actually one of both of their best movies, Jamie Foxx and Tom
Well, that's
Cruise.
when Tom Cruise used to do different roles.
Yeah.
Now he kind of just plays the same character.
He should branch out more. I mean, he's going to live till
branch back out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to live till he's like 1,000, so might as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Silent Night comes out December 1st, so
don't watch this in the theater next to the Renaissance film, because you're going to hear all concert.
Right. The concert is going to be the backdrop for the non-dialogue happening in this film. No, I'm just kidding.
Also, the supporting actor in Silent Night is Kid Cudi.
That, you know what? I watched the trailer and was like, that guy looks real familiar, but I didn't go look it up. Yes, it is Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Last trailer we have on the list is, we talked about this movie actually last episode because we just found out it was coming out. Mm-hmm. It was Leave the World Behind with Mahershala Ali, Julia Roberts, and Ethan Hawke. Mm-hmm. Yes, those are the three. But we actually got a trailer for it. It looks very much like it was described as like an apocalyptic AI is taking over the world. To me, it seemed like it might have a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe alien presence in it. I don't know. It was hard. They didn't give a whole lot away. No. Mahershala Ali is clearly aware that something's going on, and he's trying to warn other people. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he has like secrets or something, but it's given, like you said last time, Knock at the Woods?
Knock at the Cabin?
Knock at the Cabin kind of vibes. But it looks interesting.
So yeah, it also stars Kevin Bacon, which I didn't realize until just now, because he looks like old man Kevin Bacon looks exactly like old man Ethan Hawke. Like if they both both have a beard and wear a hat, they look very similar.
You're correct.
Until he starts talking and you're like, oh, that's Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. He is briefly in this trailer.
So this movie was also based on a book.
Right.
Best-selling book.
It did say
that just came out just a few years ago. Don't know the plot of the movie because I didn't want to be spoiled, so I didn't look up the plot of the book.
Right, because the book will probably tell you exactly what happens. And sometimes they vary it, but sometimes they don't.
But it kind of looks like, well, they show in the trailer that there's a cyber attack that is causing the end of the world. And it kind of sounds like the elite or people who knew about it are leaving Earth.
Yeah,
and are just kind of leaving everybody else behind.
Yeah,
to deal with the apocalypse.
There's some sort of like either in the future. There's another element, it feels like, in the trailer, in the movie, that they don't quite spell out for you. Mm-hmm. And maybe that might be like a huge plot and that's why they're not doing it, or a huge plot point and that's why they're not saying what it is in the trailer.
Yeah.
But the trailer's a little chaotic.
There's a Stephen King-esque element that's going on in the background that's causing all of this to happen.
Like an eeriness.
Yeah. Not something.
Not spelled out.
Not sure if it's supernatural, but it might be alien.
Yeah. I was getting alien.
Or maybe it's AI, because it says cyber attack. So maybe it's AI related. And there's a scene where we see like a ship purposely heading towards a beach, and we see Mahershala Ali standing in a field, and it looks like a plane has crashed.
Yeah.
Like we said when we saw the scenes, the still images in the last episode, all the cars are smart cars. Everybody's got it. All the cars on the road are Teslas and smart cars. So it's probably something AI related going on.
So it comes out so it's a Netflix movie. They're releasing it in theaters for a little bit in November, and then it's coming to Netflix December 8th. So November and December are about to be on fire with streaming movies, in-theater movies, shows, all of the above. So that's good for us.
Yeah.
Yay! All right, those were all of the trailers that we saw. Is the next Scream this January or next January? Or have they not said?
They haven't announced when the next Scream is, because they haven't even started filming yet.
Oh, right.
But it may be the end of 2024, because there's a rumor going out that the next Scream will be based around Christmas.
It'll
be a holiday film.
I remember that. Okay. Yeah. See?
So I'm not sure if it's going to take place in New York again, but it will be. There's rumors that it'll be based around Christmas, which falls in line with the last one, because the last Scream was based around Halloween in New York.
Correct. So holiday slashers on the uptick, y'all.
Yeah.
Which I like. Because those aren't too scary, because they're wrapped up in holiday.
Okay.
So I'll take it.
So we got a first episode for Loki. Well, everybody did. It came out on October 6th, which was yesterday. Thursday, premiered at 9 p.m., which seems to be the new time slot for Disney Plus shows, that prime time 9 p.m. slot.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
9 p.m. Eastern, which would be 6 p.m. Pacific, and it used to be 3 a.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would not watch it until the next, like that night. So you would literally have to stay off social media all day unless you wanted to be spoiled. But now I can watch it at a respectable hour.
And it also comes on, which the 9 p.m. Thursday night slot is also, which I did not know is the same slot for Thursday Night Football. So I'm very interested in see what the viewer numbers are going to look like, and if that cut into it at all.
I mean, this is me saying this as somebody who doesn't watch Thursday Night Football. I guess it overlaps. I'm sure it overlaps. Like the audience overlaps somewhat.
I'm sure
it does. But I mean, Disney's not new to this, so I'm sure they took that into consideration and was like, yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
Play it.
So what are your thoughts on... Okay, so first, this is spoilers. We're gonna do spoilers. Okay, so there's not much that happened in the first episode to do spoilers.
There's time codes, guys. So if you want to skip this section, just go into your podcast app, or if you're on the website, and just click the little button. You can jump to where we skip this part. If you don't want to be spoiled, if you do want to be spoiled, stay and then still go watch it because it was a good episode.
Right.
All right.
So this episode kicks off exactly where the first season of Loki ended. Exactly. Loki
play them back to back.
Loki and Sylvie got into a fight. Sylvie kicked Loki through a time door, and she also killed the He Who Remains, which is the single Kang variant that was keeping all of the timelines intact
and keeping the other Kangs away.
And keeping all of the other Kangs away.
Right.
And because of that, because she killed He Who Remains, the timeline has split. All the Kangs are out and free.
It looks
except
like
we don't know exactly where they currently are.
The timeline looks like veins of kale.
Yeah.
If you take some kale, flip it on the back, all little veins, that's what the timeline reminded me of.
So she kicked Loki through a time door, and he landed back at the TVA, but he's in a different timeline where they don't know who Loki is.
Correct.
But the TVA is run by Kang, who's still played by not John David Washington.
Close.
Still played by
Jonathan Majors. There you go.
And in the full Kang comic accurate getup as the evil villain.
Now, are there three? There's three statues. Is he just in the middle? And it
looks like they're all Kangs.
Yeah, just different getups. Okay.
Yeah. And that's where the show picks up, and Loki basically has to run around. Well, that scene didn't last very long. He didn't seem to be in that timeline very long.
He didn't. You think, because so where he lands, Mobius and B-15, right? That's her name. B-15 are like, who, we don't know you. Who are you? And then he runs around and finds another person who's also like, he's trying to run away because the TVA is trying to get to him.
Because they think he's just another Loki variant.
Right. And he's also talking crazy. So, but he doesn't stay there long because he does this thing called time slipping, which looks gross.
Yeah.
In a good way. You know, when we talked about Blue Beetle and how Blue Beetle transformed into like his suit, and it looked kind of like...
It looks like he's being...
gory and gross. It looks like that.
He's being pulled apart like string cheese.
It looks so like...
And he's slipping in between the current time, the past, and the future.
And he doesn't have any control over it. No. So he can be mid-sentence.
It seems like he's able to snap himself back.
Do you think so?
It seems like he was able to snap himself back quick enough sometimes, but there were times where he would slip and just be
gone for like a minute.
For like a whole minute.
And then sometimes he would go and come right back. But it looks like he's being... I don't know whether Mobius says it, but he's look like he's being born and killed at the same time.
Yeah. It looks very gross.
The effect is done very well, and it looks like it hurts, and he acts like it. He's kind of like, no, it's not that bad. He does a good job at
doing the body acting that it looks like it's painful.
Yeah, almost like he's on fire.
Yeah.
Like he comes back and he's like, ooh, and it looks like he felt like he's been burned or something. So that looked good. The whole episode, as usual, to me felt short because
it was only about 39 minutes of actual episode.
It felt short, and it only felt short because you just wanted to keep going and going and going. But I feel like this episode was funnier than I remember season 1 being. And I don't know whether it was Mobius and the banter of him and Loki back and forth.
I think it was just because it was so fast paced. Like they didn't really waste.
Very fast.
They didn't really waste any time in the episode.
None.
They didn't do like any stalling. So as soon as Loki gets back to the current timeline, he has to quickly Mobius and B-15 are telling not the time council, but basically TVA judges that the time council is fake. They're robots because we find out at the end of last season that the time council is fake.
It's a sham.
It's a sham. They're informing the judges that, the whole philosophy of the TVA is to maintain the sacred timeline. But in reality, we've been pruning timelines that have billions of lives living
AKA
inside of them.
Murder.
Yeah, they've been committing genocide and what we find out is they've been operating like that for 400 years.
That we know of, but it could be longer because who knows?
Yeah. So the TVA thought that they were preserving the sacred timeline from splitting which would cause chaos. But in reality, there are supposed to be multiple timelines with multiple different billions and billions of people living their lives. What they've been doing is they've been
keeping just whatever
killing
timeline,
all of those timelines and people.
He who remains, I guess, or Kang deems fit.
Yeah, because he who remains fear is that all of his variants, who are all evil and
come
are
from these
all
different
super
timelines.
powerful, just want endless war.
Right.
Over control of all the
and there would be Kanes in these different timelines that are now getting split off like the back of Kale.
And it would cause the destruction of all timelines.
Right.
And just the universe wouldn't exist
interesting
anymore.
Because Loki kind of has this thing where he says, but he made sense. And Mobius is like, what? Because Mobius wasn't there when Sylvie and Loki made it to He Who Remains. So he's trying to tell Mobius what happened. And Loki has a moment where he was like, and he actually made sense. But B-15 is like, we can't prune these timelines. We're killing people.
Yeah, B-15 wants to shut down the TVA's operation.
Exactly.
Completely.
And
especially when she realizes, because Loki tells all of them, that everybody who works with TVA is from a different timeline. And they were abducted and recruited into the TVA to do Kang's dirty work, basically.
Right, which is crazy because also in the episode, Mobius goes to meet Opie. Or is it OP or OB?
It's OB.
OB. Who Opie's like, oh, welcome, Mobius. Haven't seen you in a long time. And Mobius like, oh, it's been about, because Mobius doesn't remember because we find out that they've been wiping his memory. Yeah. And he's trying to like, oh, I haven't seen you in 400 years. And he's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
So we found out that Mobius has been reset like he's the one in the Matrix for 400 years.
He's been resetting everybody in the TVA's minds, except for OB. OB seems to be the only one who remembers, and that's because he has to be the one.
What was his job? Did you pick up what his job was?
He ran. Miss Minutes is the one who preserved the timeline,
right?
Or it was a front. It was really Kang, but they think Miss Minutes is the one who's preserving the timeline.
Right.
OB says he just runs tests every 100 years to make sure that everything is going
because he was getting something. I need to watch somebody's breakdown. I haven't done that yet. He was getting something in tubes sent down to him through, like, if you think of when you go to the bank and you send the little things through little tubes, if you go through the drive-through, he had several of those coming in, and he does something with one and sends it back up. And I was like, what is he doing? Yeah. So I didn't catch what his job was.
We didn't really get answers for too much in this episode.
No, of course not.
Just
bunch of questions.
We got the gist of what the overall plot is, which is that there's a few things. One, they're looking for Sylvie.
Correct. I got that
because after she killed Kang, she's still on the loose.
She's like most wanted. Well, most wanted again because she was most wanted in the first season.
Yeah, she's still on the loose.
But we think there's two Sylvies.
Because the whole episode jumps between the past and the present.
And he goes to the future.
and the future. So I think it's the same Sylvie. We're just seeing her
at different points.
She's different in the future, and I think she's different in the future because she realized that killing Kang was not the right decision to make. And we also see current Sylvie.
So I wonder what she's doing now.
We also see current Sylvie, who's just trying to, it looks like she's just going to start trying to live a normal life and try to experience all the things that she missed.
Seems like she's tired of running.
But she doesn't realize yet that she made the wrong decision.
Right.
Is what it seems
and
like.
the infamous old school McDonald's shows up in the first episode, which I wasn't expecting, which I think they're pretty much, I think the girl just is like, I just want to stay here and work. And that's how we see her.
And just live a regular life because it was stolen from me.
Right. And I don't think she realizes the chaos that is ensuing everywhere else. So good episode, too short. Already wish the season is longer. It's only 6 episodes.
Great visuals. I think it's still the best looking MCU series.
Better than WandaVision?
It looks better than WandaVision. Like the set design.
But WandaVision went through different TV eras.
Yeah, but the look of the TVA is so specific.
It is.
Yeah.
It has a old office building color gradient over it.
Yeah.
Like it's not your Apple office. It's more like
it's kind of like the Matrix, where you have like it takes place in current day, but it looks, all the technology is like retro.
You're not sure what year it is. Kind of situation.
And I think that's because they exist outside of time. Right. I guess that's why. But yeah, love the acting.
Interesting how Opie realized it was 400 years. That's just crazy when he said that.
I think he's the only one who doesn't get his mind wiped because he just stays down there.
Yeah. And another thing that happened in this episode was that from the comic book, they ripped out that Kang and Renslayer are together, or at least
I don't know,
implied that like there was some sort of relationship.
So in the comic books, Kang he travels between timelines.
Yeah.
And each timeline he conquers civilization and moves on to the next timeline to do the same thing. In the comics,
which is what he was doing in Ant-Man 3, right? Okay.
So in the comics, he travels to Ravonna Renslayer's timeline, conquers it, and basically holds her hostage as his wife because he's in love with her. So he holds her hostage as his wife.
It wasn't a willingly thing?
No, she was not willing. Actually, by the time Kang catches up to the Avengers and whatnot, Ravonna is the one who helps them take him down because she's like, I've been prisoner to this man and he's
the way he says it in the episode, it seems a little manipulative.
It seems like in the show she's willingly working for him, but maybe she's being manipulated.
Right. It's I can't remember what he says, but he says it kind of like I don't know. It's skeevy.
He says, "I look forward to leading with you."
Yeah, something like that.
It is a recording of him talking to her.
Right, but we know from how he was the version of him in Ant-Man, he has a way of kind of like, oh yeah, we'll work together, we'll build together, yada yada yada.
Because he did the same thing to Michelle Pfeiffer.
Exactly. So very interesting.
So it's very interesting. They may not do the exact same thing because even in the comics, it was kind of like, this is kind of inappropriate because you like abducted this woman and you're holding her hostage and she can never go back to her timeline because you destroyed it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we had a bit of a discussion of if they're still going to do Kang Dynasty and if they're just going to jump to Secret Wars because all the talk now is about Secret Wars. But I think we're both right. Like they have to do something with Kang because he's on the big screen. He's one on the big screen because they introduced him on the big screen. 2, he's obviously way too powerful.
He's way too powerful to wrap up in a show.
Yeah, like there's multiple versions. It's interesting because I was like, I'm actually more afraid of Kang in this show than I was in the movie. And Jonathan Majors doesn't even show up in the first episode. I mean, there's tons of statues of him that look like him, but he physically does not show up. And I was kind of like, this is a little more menacing him not on camera than it was when he was on camera in Ant-Man.
Yeah, because he seems...
And still he started beating up Scott Lang.
He seems very...
everywhere.
a good villain like Loki is manipulative and charismatic and coerces people on their side, and that's a really good villain. So like Loki, which is very interesting, is kind of the same way as Kang, because Loki was the exact same way. So it's very interesting.
It'll be interesting. The season finale of Loki and the Marvels show up on the same week. So I wonder if there's I think I'm overthinking it. Tie-in or no tie-in?
I don't know if it'll tie into the Marvels, because it seems like the Marvels already has enough going on in it. It's dealing with
like an after credit scene situation.
Probably. Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah, because the Marvels is supposed to have a big monumental after credit scene.
2 apparently.
Yeah. So
we'll see. That would be cool though if somehow the after credits of the Marvels and Loki tie in together.
Yeah.
They moved the Marvels though, so maybe I was like, they had to plan it on purpose, but they haven't moved the Marvels, so maybe not.
It'll probably go into Kang Dynasty.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting. And Loki season 2 is rumored, keyword rumored, to tie into Deadpool 3 because the TVA is rumored to show up in Deadpool 3. We have no confirmation of that, I don't think.
We have no confirmation, but it's rumored that the TVA is going to show up in Deadpool 3 because Deadpool has to do with jumping between timelines and multiverses.
Very interesting. Hopefully Deadpool doesn't get delayed. Deadpool 3 is going to be insane.
I think they finished filming.
Did they finish? I hope that. I
think they finished. That may be incorrect, and maybe they're still filming, maybe they're doing reshoots.
I feel like when the writer's strike was over, or maybe somebody that was like a fan made picture, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out soon enough if it's gonna get delayed or not. But Loki season 2's out. Go watch it. You definitely would have had to watch the first season, so don't skip that.
But you don't have to have seen Ant-Man.
You do not have to watch Ant-Man.
I think it's going to do a fresh introduction to Kang and Loki.
Right. They're different versions. Technically not the same person. So that is all we have for news. We're going to take a short break and get into our Ahsoka review. Okay, we are back to talk about Ahsoka. So Ahsoka was released on Disney Plus August 22nd, 2023. If you are watching this in 2024, just so you know.
Yeah.
It was created by Dave Filoni, who Jay accurately guessed.
It's too late.
Was the voice of Chopper, who is the droid in this movie. Dave Filoni is not new to Star Wars at all.
He's actually, they call it the Filoni verse.
He has his own verse, y'all. When you have your own verse in a franchise, you are official. But he has been the director, writer, and has production credits on The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Clone Wars, and Rebels.
Clone Wars, that was the animated series, not Star Wars, Clone Wars, the movie.
And Rebels is also animated.
Right.
So Star Wars, if you don't know Star Wars, it has a mix of animated and live action movies. So
but it's all canon.
Is it all canon?
Yeah, it is all canon.
Okay. Which is interesting because, we'll get into it, but I haven't watched everything. So you definitely had to have watched Rebels to watch Ahsoka. Or you had to have had some sort of backstory, recap, speed review, something. Like you couldn't, to me, you could not go into Ahsoka blind.
And people tried to say you didn't have to, but you absolutely had to. Because the characters, the dialogue and the way it's written is written as if
it was a continuation.
All these people already know each other, and they're constantly referencing things that took place before the show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For sure. This show stars, so this is live action. This is an animated show. It stars Rosario Dawson, Natasha Leo Bordezzo, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is who is the wife of Ewan McGregor, which I just learned, I think, when the show started.
Yeah.
Ray Stevenson, rest in peace.
Yes.
Ivana Sakno, Diana Lee
Inosato.
We'll go with that. David Tennant, Iman
MCU alum.
He's from, don't tell me. David Tennant is from the show that I like, whose name I cannot remember. Jessica Jones.
Yes.
There it is. He was the villain in Jessica Jones.
Purple Man.
He was awful.
He was one of the worst MCU villains.
And when we say awful, we mean he was good awful.
He was one of the worst MCU villains they've come up with.
He was so awful. So yeah, David Tennant is in this, by the way. So he's not physically in it. He voices Hu Yang, who is a droid. So he's a droid like C-3PO who talks. Also stars Iman Esfandi, Lars Mikkelsen, who is Matt Mikkelsen's brother. They kind of favor. I think they favor just a tinge.
Okay.
A little bit. And last but not least, Hayden Christensen, who reprises his role as Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
And the reason why I name all those people is because all those people are significant.
Yeah. These are the main characters.
I didn't name any who I would consider side characters. Like, all these people had like significant roles in this movie.
Absolutely.
Runtime, I don't know, but it was 8 episodes. They vary between like 35, 45 minutes.
Like 35 minutes to an hour. Some of them were like 55 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. The first episode, I think, was pretty long. Don't know the budget. That was not well known. Also, it wasn't released in theaters except episode 5. Right. I believe it was episode 5.
I think episode 1 went into theaters too. I heard it was free. Oh. The tickets were free.
It might have. Well, remember when we saw Rings of Power?
Those tickets were free.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool when they do that. I mean, the studio has the money. So, but numbers wise, Disney Plus and Lucasfilm announced that part 1, so episode 1, had 14 million views the first 5 days that Ahsoka came out, becoming the most watched title on Disney Plus during the week of its launch. And I'm pretty sure this will be a Little Mermaid elemental situation because if Loki doesn't have more than 14 million, I would be surprised.
Oh yeah, Loki is definitely knocking this out of the park.
So that'll be but Ahsoka got it for that 1 week.
And I think that's just solely because Loki is already established.
And we've been waiting.
It already had a fan base.
Yeah. You know, it's been 2 years since Loki season 1 came out. It doesn't feel like it.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Rotten Tomatoes. So the critic score, this is interesting because I don't know how often this happens, but the critic score is 87. The audience score is 72.
That makes sense. That makes sense to me.
There did seem to be maybe some diehard fans who did not love Ahsoka or just flat out didn't like it. Yeah. So I guess I'm not too surprised, but critics seem to really like it.
Critics liked it because it is a well-made show. Audience liked it less because I think the payoff per episode was not as big. Some episodes were a lot slower than others, and I think agree. That's why audiences didn't receive it as well. Some
people didn't like Rosario Dawson, didn't think she did a good depiction of Ahsoka from the anime.
Which I have an opinion on that, but I'll get to it later.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't kind of like how most people will say they love Loki. Now, I like Loki season 1. I like WandaVision better. But Loki season 1 was good, but I think universally people love Loki season 1. I don't know if people would say the same about Ahsoka. If I had to guess. Critics seem to love it, but I don't know if like the Star Wars fandom as a whole was like, oh my God, we love Ahsoka versus MCU fandom would say, oh, I love Loki.
I don't think so. And I think because Ahsoka plays like another season of Rebels.
Okay.
Like an added season of Rebels.
Yes, for sure.
But because I didn't watch Rebels, I don't know from personal experience, but what I've heard from a lot of people who are fans of Rebels is Ahsoka feels like a season of Rebels, but it doesn't feel like the best season of Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Like it seems like there are better seasons of Rebels than this season of Ahsoka.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So, fun fact, Rick Famuyiwa, who directed the last episode of Ahsoka, is also the director of The Wood and Brown Sugar, which are Black film classics. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
I was like, now how you go from The Wood and Brown Sugar to Ahsoka? Now,
it's a different time.
That's what I call a resume. Yeah. Okay. He was also the director and a producer on The Mandalorian, so he is also not new to Star Wars. Another fun fact about this director, he was the original director that was supposed to direct The Flash.
Well, I bet he is glad that he got off that.
Listen, when one door closes, the Lord says, open up another. Yeah. But anyway, I was doing some research.
At least people actually watched Ahsoka. Nobody went to see The Flash.
I was doing research and I was like, wait a second, this guy has a nice little catalog here. Yeah. Wait a minute, he was supposed to direct The Flash? Well, and the reason why he left The Flash was because of creative differences. So yeah, I could I think we could see why.
It seems like the Flash that came out had creative differences.
Listen, I'm like, maybe y'all
in the movie.
Maybe y'all should have let Rick do his thing. I mean, the Wood Brown Sugar, they, he Mandalorian.
And the Mandalorian.
He obviously has the reputation. So that is all the facts about Ahsoka. We're not going to do a non-spoiler spoiler. I think we're going to jump right into what we thought about the show. So you go first.
So the plot of Ahsoka takes place, it seems like immediately after Rebels, or maybe just a couple years after Rebels. 5 years?
Yes, I was going to say, I think it's been 5 years.
So it takes place 5 years after Rebels, which underlines the fact that you really have to, if not have watched Rebels, at least have an understanding of what happened in Rebels to pick up on this show. Because it already starts off with the entire cast of Rebels 5 years later. In Rebels, they were a team.
Right.
This is 5 years later in Ahsoka. They split up. They're all doing their own things, living on their separate planets. Thrawn, who is the villain from Rebels, is coming back. He's being brought back by one of the Night Sisters, which are basically Force witches. They introduced Force witchcraft into the live action Star Wars universe.
To even give a little more backstory before Ahsoka, live action Ahsoka first appeared in Mandalorian season 2. Mm-hmm. And she appeared because Mando was trying to take Baby Yoda, trying to find his home, like where he came from. Mm-hmm. And Bo-Katan, who's a Mandalorian, told Mando to go find Ahsoka. They go find Ahsoka, and Ahsoka is how we find out Baby Yoda's name is not Baby Yoda. She is the one who basically reveals that Baby Yoda's real name is Grogu, which nobody's calling him because his name is Baby Yoda, and that's what we're going to call him. But Morgan, who is the villain in Ahsoka, also first showed up there because remember, Ahsoka was trying to find her because there was word that Thrawn was coming back. And that actually leads into Ahsoka because she takes Morgan captive or arrest her or whatnot. And the opening scene of Ahsoka is Morgan in jail. So it even goes, not only does it tie into Rebel, or it's a continuation of Rebels, there's a whole Mandalorian episode in between the two.
Ahsoka is going around reuniting various members of the Rebel team to stop Morgan, who's a Force witch, from bringing Thrawn back, who has been banished to a different galaxy, an uncharted, undiscovered galaxy.
With one of their friends. By one of their friends, technically. That's how he got there.
Yeah, their friend Ezra, who was one of the main characters from Rebels, basically self-sacrificed, didn't kill himself, but self-sacrificed so that in order to keep Thrawn out of the main galaxy far, far away, and restarting the Republic, stranded them both in a different galaxy even further away.
Right. There's a lot of lore.
Yeah. There's a lot of lore. It's very hard to summarize the plot
without going into other shows.
In like a paragraph, because like a lot of Star Wars, it just builds off of already story that was already established.
Right. Across different other mediums and different other shows.
It's basically a get the gang together to stop the big bad.
That's a good way to put it.
And Thrawn is the big bad.
Mm-hmm. And Thrawn is supposed to be, he kind of gave me Thanos vibes.
Well, I didn't find Thrawn as menacing as Thanos.
We haven't seen him enough.
Mm-hmm.
He had that very kind of, he's
supposed to be like the most skilled and feared.
Right, he's very smart. He's supposed to be very smart.
Of the Empire, I'm sorry.
And calculated and kind of, he's very knowledgeable about how to win and things of that nature.
He's a great tactician. He knows how to assess an enemy's weaknesses or an opponent's weaknesses and take them down the most efficient way without wasting too many resources on it.
Right. Unless he finds out you are Anakin Skywalker's apprentice, and then he's like, burn this place down.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite. That's like episode 6 or 7, where he finds out that Ahsoka is basically Darth Vader's apprentice when you put it down to it. And he's like, oh, word? oh, for real? Okay, I'm gonna need you to rain hellfire. I'm gonna need you to go out there and kill all her people.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work. I need you to send out all the troops.
Mhm.
And Morgan's just kind of like, what, chill out. It's just one person. He's like, no, we not negotiating.
Right.
With nobody coming from no Skywalker apprenticeship.
Right.
So that was one of my favorite scenes when he has that moment of like, oh heck no, we ain't doing this.
I really like the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think overall the show was really good. I think a lot more episodes were slower
than you would have liked.
Than I would have liked.
I only really felt the slowness in the last episode.
Like they did good building up hype and anticipation for the next episode.
Yes.
But when it came to watching the next episode, I felt like quite often by the time the credits rolled, I was like, that's it? That's all they're gonna do? They're not gonna. We wasted so much time talking and
it didn't advance the plot enough for you each episode.
Yeah, it didn't advance the plot enough each episode. I feel like the whole show, which was 8 episodes, you said?
Yep, it was 8.
The most important parts that really advanced the plot maybe would have made 2-hour movies.
Fair.
And I
think this could have been one
felt like
movie.
It paid off the exact same. And I feel like the only reason I say 2 is because there's the episode, we get a flashback episode,
which was the best episode of the season,
where Ahsoka is basically in the far plane. I don't know she's
in
the world between worlds, and she's talking to the ghost of Anakin Skywalker.
Purgatory. You can call it Purgatory.
Feel like that would not have fit into one movie. That's why I don't think it could all have been one movie, because I'm like, where would you put that in one movie and still do the rest of the movie?
Oh, it kind of been like a 2-parter situation.
Yeah, I feel like it could have been a Infinity War Endgame type of thing.
Okay, where
it could have been, and it didn't have to be like not the 3-hour Endgame. It could have been like 2.5-hour movies. Yeah,
although now that you say that, I feel like it actually could have been one movie, only because once they get to the galaxy or they get to the planet where Thrawn and Ezra are, some of the reuniting with Ezra and Sabine was like, we can kind of push this along. Because to give a quick summary, Sabine basically betrays Ahsoka.
Like she knew she would.
Goes with the villains to go to this new distant galaxy. She has no idea where it is, mind you, to go find Ezra. When Ahsoka literally just says in the scene before, "Can I trust you?" And Sabine's like, "Your thoughts, but not really." And she lands and she actually finds Ezra pretty quickly, which may be too quickly now that you think about it. Like she found that man in like in an episode.
Yeah.
And Ezra's like, "Oh, happy to see you. It's a nice, happy reuniting." And they're just kind of like, "Oh, okay. Well, where's Ahsoka? And how are we gonna get back home?" And she's like, "Oh, I'll tell you about it later."
Yeah.
And I'm like, later? We need to go home.
Sabine played like an idiot from the front of the show to the back of it.
My note says Sabine was a knucklehead the whole show. Literally, word for word, a knucklehead the whole show.
I really tried to go back and sit with my thoughts and go through the episodes and be like, okay.
Where did she shine?
She never did anything useful, ever. The only thing she did useful was she was capable in a fight, I guess. So she lived. That's the one thing she did. She knew how to not die. But the only thing she really did useful was unlock the map, which was
she got Ezra on the ship. 2.
I feel like the way they played Ezra up, Rebels and this show, they basically treat him like he's a Force Jesus. So I feel like he could have even done that himself without her help. But she didn't do anything smart to be an adult character.
I had the impression that she was like the star, and maybe I didn't watch Rebels.
Yeah, I had the impression
she was like the lead, like she was like the star player, and I'm like, she's breaking trust of Ahsoka. She's not being forthright with Ezra on how she got there and how she has no way to get them back home.
Yeah. It seems like in the Rebels show, she's a fan favorite.
Yes.
But watching Ahsoka, I can't fathom how she's right. I don't see how.
For people to have an issue with how Rosario Dawson portrayed Ahsoka and me not having seen Rebels, I had an issue with how, so not the character, not the acting. So nothing against the actress
Yeah,
and how
the actress was fine.
all the acting in the show was good, but her characterization was just kind of like, this is y'all leader? Is this y'all queen?
It was just like,
you just didn't get it.
I had a hard time figuring out why the character was likable in Rebels.
Yeah.
I had a hard time figuring out why Ahsoka still wants to train her. She doesn't seem to have the Force. She's not very Force sensitive.
She got it at the end.
She's
real easy.
Throughout the show, though.
No. It's definitely
for 7 episodes.
It was a last minute Force kick.
For 7 episodes, I could not fathom why Ahsoka was so stuck on making her Padawan, because she wasn't Force sensitive, she didn't make smart decisions, and she lied, and she was untrustworthy. And at least Anakin did all those things, but at least had talent. But Sabine didn't.
Anakin could get down.
So I was very confused why they decided to make her that way in the show.
Yeah,
I really liked Ahsoka, and my thoughts on people saying that they don't like. So people who are fans of Rebels don't favor Rosario Dawson's interpretation of the character, and they all say it's because
I really liked her as Ahsoka.
She plays her. She's not as energetic. I've watched.
I've seen
Wars.
clips.
I didn't watch Rebels.
Okay.
I did watch Clone Wars. Some of Clone Wars, not all.
Clone Wars was a series or a movie?
Series, the animated series.
Okay.
And Ahsoka was in the Clone Wars. She was very lively.
She was a kid, right?
She was very quick. Not the whole show.
Okay.
She eventually becomes a Jedi, an adult, just like Anakin. She was lively. She was quick. She was snappy. She had like really high energy and charisma. And Rosario Dawson wasn't like that. And a lot of people have used that as a mark against Rosario Dawson's portrayal of the character, because she's not the exact same. I find it strange because that's Star Wars. That's how all the Jedi have been in every single Star Wars.
Oh, that's kind of more serious.
They
stoic.
all get older and get slower and gets more stoic.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was Ewan McGregor. And
You're
then
right.
we get him in the original trilogy where he's older and he's slower.
Yeah.
Even Darth Vader is slower.
Even Luke.
Anakin Skywalker was young and high energy and energetic and rebellious. And then we get to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader's slower.
Yeah.
And he's
definitely more stoic.
He's more stoic. He plays it a lot straighter and less emotion. That's how all the Jedi are. Qui-Gon Jinn was the exact same way. He was very wise.
He was not a young whippersnapper.
He was very wise and stoic and wasn't high energy. So I find it strange that, and even Yoda was the slowest by the time he got old. So everybody's like, well, she's not the same. All the Jedi get older and get slower and wise up, and they don't act like kids. So I liked, and I wouldn't say that I'm like I haven't seen everything Rosario Dawson has been in, but I really liked her in like just the way she portrayed that older, wiser, more stern Jedi. I liked it. And we don't get a lot of female Jedi characters. It's always Luke, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, or it's the kid. Yeah.
Who's training to be an apprentice. So I liked her whole acting portrayal of a character that I just watched live action in this show.
Yeah, but that was, and even like Yoda and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon have said in all the movies, the whole point of being a Jedi is because you get older, you get wiser, you shed all your childlike desires and wants, and you commit yourself to the Force. And that's exactly what Ahsoka was like. I don't know why everybody wanted her to still be a young whippersnapper.
Yeah,
when
you're right.
That would mean that she wasn't a very good Jedi. If she was the exact same, if she still acted like a kid.
She definitely wouldn't have won all them battles that she was fighting in this season. I was like, girl, what? Watch it. Oh, yeah. You got it? Okay.
She didn't act any different than Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan to me. And I feel like that was in line.
She was a very good Jedi, and I liked her portrayal of being she seemed wise and knew what she was like. You know, when she was fighting, she wasn't going to lose.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, technically she kind of lost once. But then she came back. But
that wasn't her. Well, that was...
Technically, that was...
And, you know, the reason she lost that fight is because she got emotional.
You're right.
Just like she did when she was younger. Yep. She slipped up, got emotional because she thought Sabine was dead.
And got yeeted off a cliff.
The moment she lost focus, that's when she lost.
Right. So that just proved your point.
I loved Rosario Dawson's portrayal of Ahsoka. She had the look. A lot of people were saying that they felt like she fought slower.
There was some complaints about the Jedi lightsaber fights.
I liked all the lightsaber fights.
I liked all of them. I felt the one in the last episode when her and Morgan were fighting went a touch too long. It kind of felt like that John Wick. Was it John Wick 2? No, John Wick 3 maybe, where that fight scene went on for 10 minutes. And I'm like, John, just killed a man.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. So it wasn't like that bad, but the fight scene at the end, I was ready for her to hack Morgan in half and keep it going. I
liked all the fight scenes. The show looked good.
It looked great. Beautiful gowns.
Liked
beautiful landscapes.
Ezra actor.
He was good. All the acting was, everybody played their role. And Ray Stevenson with playing Baylan was like maybe one of my favorite. Like him or Rosario Dawson and Ray Stevenson were probably my top 2 favorites in terms of actors.
Yeah,
I would say in this episode or this show.
Yeah, so Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati are kind of our B villains, and I really like them.
Yes,
they were really good. I really liked Ray Stevenson. Seemed to be in it for his own agenda,
which didn't become apparent until a little later. And it was like, oh, you up to something?
Yeah, until they actually had found out where Thrawn was and they knew where they were going. I was like, oh, okay, he has his own plan.
Right?
He's
you
not
weren't.
Going
you
there
just
to
thought
get
that
Thrawn.
they were hired. They were sabers for hire, but really he had his own kind of thing going that he was keeping so close to the vest. Even his apprentice didn't even know what he was up to because he let her go like bye.
He kind of touched on the same things that Kylo Ren touched on, where he was kind of like,
I love me some Kylo Ren.
He was telling Rey, he was like he was like a Republic and Empire, they're both gonna fight forever.
Right.
There's no point in joining it.
They still fight.
He was like, let's just leave it and do our own thing. And that's the exact same thing Kylo Ren was saying. So I was kind of like, okay, I really like that because the more Star Wars movies that came out that were about the rebellion and the Empire, it was the same the
same plot device.
It was the same plot device and it was the same conflict. And I'm like, yeah, the more and more you watch these movies, like I'm caring less and less about these two sides because both of y'all just seem ridiculous.
Right.
Listen, and nobody's learning anything.
You already know. I was on Kylo Ren's side in them last 3. I was like, he needs to win because it is justified and we need to flip the script a little bit. Let the bad guy win for once.
I think it was The Last Jedi when Kylo Ren was telling Rey, like, look, just come with me and let's just do our own thing. Right. And I was like, ooh, this is great. They're going to do that. And then they didn't.
Of course not.
They completely folded on that. But that was a really good, plot point that I like that they brought back with Ray Stevenson. And I also like the fact that Ray Stevenson tells Shin Hati, who is his Padawan,
basically,
that he lets her go. He's like, all this time, I can tell you really just want to be part of this.
Right.
You really want to be part of the Empire. You really want to be the next Vader. You want to be, you want to have your moment. So I'm going to just let you go and
be
do
free.
that.
Free little bird.
And when she had her freedom, she had no idea what to do with herself.
Nope.
She wanted it so bad and she wanted to be the new big bad so bad.
She was just wandering that little planet. Although I will say, I wish we would have saw more of them in the final episode. Because they're literally in there for less than a minute. Baylan and Shin.
But it made plot sense after she lost and she ran away. It was like, girl, you have no idea what you want to do.
She was definitely lost without some guidance.
But there are villains that I liked.
I like them both. Even from the very first, do they open the episode? They might open up episode 1.
Yeah, because they free Morgan.
Right. It was like, oh, okay, y'all didn't come to play. And I like y'all.
Yeah. I liked Morgan. I liked the Night Sisters.
I like the introduction of the witches. That was different.
Yeah,
and
that was different.
Cool. It wasn't just your usual force or no force. We got something else going on here that's just as equally as powerful as the force.
Yeah,
because we zombies, y'all. Star Wars has zombies,
and I like this. I like the zombies that basically all the stormtroopers who were trapped with Thrawn were dead.
Yeah.
They were all zombies.
And then when the Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine thought they killed them, they did their little magic, and then they all came back, and they were like, "Excuse me, what is this dark magic?"
And they did
chaos magic, Wanda.
They did follow through on my hunch, which is that Morocco meant nothing.
Oh,
because
no.
I thought that Morocco was going to amount to a big nothing.
Listen, nerd fandoms we love to assume until our brains hurt and then feel like we let down when something don't pan out.
Yeah.
This whole season, we thought, or I'll say we, because I'll put us in that bucket. This particular character was, I mean, they were theories like, oh, maybe it's Ezra and Ezra turned dark, or maybe it's somebody's
They thought it
dad.
was Starkiller, who is like an Elseworlds.
Yeah.
Elseworlds Sith
One of the
master.
guy who was listed in the credits who did voice work in the previous Star Wars stuff, they thought it was him, and come to find out he was dust.
He was just a zombie.
He was literally just a zombie.
Yeah.
And he turned into dust, and we never talked about him again.
Being played as a puppet by the Night Sisters?
Right.
I'm assuming?
Yeah.
He was just basically a puppet.
Basically, because he did whatever Shin told him to do. So, and I think that might have been episode 4. So he didn't even make it. He didn't even make it to like the big episode. He was gone, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's it." So I love when nerd fandoms have so many conspiracy theories and they don't turn out to be true.
Yeah, because I also was like, well, maybe he'll come back, and he did not come back. He was dead because he was
gone.
already dead.
Exactly.
He wasn't even a person.
Now he was Ash.
Right. How did you feel about Thrawn?
I liked him, and I liked how there's got to be something in the Mickelson blood that lets them play awesome villains. I don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know that he voiced Thrawn in Rebels. The same.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool that they brought him for the live action, because from what I've seen of Rebels, just from watching clips and stuff, he does have that look. The guy is blue, by the way, y'all.
Yeah.
With red eyes. So he done up like in full paint, makeup, contacts, suit, all of that. He's really good. And he's so good that I was like, there's no way they're about to kill him in this season, because he's too good. Like, he's too good to just wipe out in 2 episodes. It wouldn't have made any sense.
Yeah, I thought they were going to.
I was like, but there's no way. It would be like trying to wipe out Kang.
Because this takes place before the
3
sequel trilogy.
Right. So this is before
Rey
the
Skywalker.
Right. This is before Rey, Kylo Ren, and John Boyega.
Right. So he obviously gets defeated at some point, because by the time the sequel trilogy comes around, he's no longer a thing.
They are 30-something years apart, if I'm not mistaken.
So I could have saw them getting rid of him.
You think so?
Yeah, because I didn't think Ahsoka was going to get a season 2. And it ends on a cliffhanger.
Multiple cliffhangers.
Yeah. It ends on a cliffhanger that kind of sets it up in a way that this could split into 2 different shows.
Right. So the way that the show ends, the bad guy wins. Ezra gets back home, though. So that's a silver lining, because he's been trapped with trapped with Thrawn this whole time. And then Ahsoka and Sabine actually end up getting trapped on the planet
with no way home. And it seems like they're just gonna
Ahsoka's just like, we gotta move on. And I was like, I'm sorry.
She said we have to shed the past and move on.
I was like, no ma'am. Like, I don't live here. This is not home for me.
Which I could see, I could, one of 2 things. I could see the show just ending here, and we just see Ahsoka and Sabine in a different show.
Okay.
Just like they were in Mandalorian.
In a different planet.
They could get brought back in a different show.
Okay.
Or they could get a season 2
with them
we have an
back.
Entirely new galaxy to explore.
Oh, I see. They just split off Star Wars into 2. Yeah. I don't think they're gonna do that. It would be good though. That would be very cool.
I think they're running out of space to expand in this one galaxy.
But you have to think, there are 30 years between Ahsoka and I'll just call it the Rey verse. I don't know what that series is, or the trilogy is called. And in between that, Dave Filoni got a movie coming out. I think that his movie is going to be an Ahsoka Mandalorian mashup. And somehow Ahsoka is going to somehow get off that planet. Her and Sabine are somehow going to get off that planet, brought back into the galaxy, and his movie is going to be about Mando and Ahsoka and whoever else taking down Thrawn.
I mean, it could.
That's a theory.
But I also think it would be
cool.
It would be cool for them to have just explore this entirely new galaxy where they could do whatever they want because there's no lore set up for it. But
that's a lot of work, though.
They also could have done that in The Last Jedi. They could have explored what it would have been like to shed the Jedi and shed the Empire and just do their own thing, but they chose to not. So maybe they'll choose to not do anything new and just keep it going to status quo.
Yeah, there's so many cliffhangers that I feel like it's too many loose strings to not tie up. Like Ahsoka and Sabine being stuck on the new galaxy with no way home. Thrawn and Ezra making it out. So the bad guy won, and nothing ever ends on a bad guy winning. Usually, I don't see Star Wars doing that. And then
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, well. They could. I don't know. It's because Darth Vader definitely won. I guess it's because we know Thrawn doesn't make it to the next trilogy. Like, they got to get rid of him at some point. And then also Baylan, whatever he's looking for, what we see him looking at are I had to look this up, are called the Mortis gods. The Father, the Son, and the Daughter. So the Father was the balance. The Son was the dark side. The Daughter was the light side. And in the statues that he sees, it looks like the daughter's face or whatever has been destroyed. Now, backstory. In Rebels, Ahsoka died and the daughter of this trio sacrificed her life to give it to Ahsoka. And the thought is that it's a bird. Can't think of what kind of bird it is. Did you see the bird at the end of the episode? The theory is that the bird is the daughter incarnate. Like, the daughter's spirit is in this bird and the bird is not the first time the bird has showed up. The bird has shown up in other different Star Wars things with Ahsoka. It's like Ahsoka's head wing. But she don't deliver letters. Baylan is trying to do something with the Mortis gods. We don't know what. I feel like that's
he said he just wants power. He wants a new type
of
power.
And I think that's like a tie-in. I actually want to explore whatever he's trying to do. But I also think them showing that bird in the show is kind of like our hint of she ain't done yet. Like, somehow she's going to be able to get back. And then Force Ghost Anakin. I mean, you don't bring him back for no reason. Or maybe you do. We likes to see Anakin.
It seems like he's going to be sticking around because he's also there.
My favorite episode was the flashback episode where we get Anakin Skywalker trying to give Ahsoka a lesson. And then we see that little flashback or that little change where he's like Darth Vader. And you're like, oh. It's kind of like people don't forget that he's turning to Darth Vader. But Darth Vader was Anakin was a murderer.
In life, he was evil.
He was not good.
He redeemed himself by the time he died.
He did, but the man was bad. Like, he had a very dark turn to the dark side.
Yeah.
He's also one of the best villains ever. So
he's Space Hitler.
Let's give him credit. He was one of the best villains ever. But before he turned into Darth Vader, he was R.A. jacked.
Yeah.
He was already jacked up. But I do like when they bring him back. If anything, because Hayden Christensen deserves his credit, because they dogged that man when the prequels came out. And I was like, why are y'all so hard on this guy? He's just playing the character.
Because the writing was bad. And honestly, except for Ewan McGregor, everybody in those prequel trilogies were bad.
They were, I wouldn't say bad.
Natalie Portman was not her best.
They were okay. They're fair.
Qui-Gon Jinn was good.
7 out of 10.
Sidious was good.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson was good.
Well, of course he was.
But I mean, the writing was bad. Rewatching those movies is very cringy. The dialogue was.
It was, but I'm glad he's getting like his redemption arc amongst the fan base, because nerd fandoms can go too hard on people, like the actual people.
And the Star Wars fandom is the worst.
They are top, like,
they are
once again, don't y'all be review bombing.
Star Wars fandoms are the most aggressive.
But they get really intense. So I like it's funny to see how everybody's like, oh my God, we love Anakin, we love Hayden. Oh my God, more Anakin, more Hayden. Because it's like y'all was dogging him.
This is a different group of fans, though. I feel like the fans now, I feel like they have different.
The majority
they
now
have
is
the
different.
same fans.
Right.
I think the
haters
are no longer
out.
the majority.
Yeah.
Right. Like you were saying.
The tide has shifted in the fandom, which is good because
there are more people now with common sense than there were then when they were dogging Hayden Christensen out.
Somewhat, because they was giving my girl Moses Ingram a little too much flack in Obi-Wan, but that's a different episode.
Yeah.
However, speaking of Obi-Wan, I do like how they brought back Anakin and Darth Vader in Obi-Wan just a touch better than I liked how they did it in Ahsoka. Mainly because Obi-Wan did not know that Anakin turned into Vader. And that whole interaction was just kind of like, oh, dang. You ain't know? You really ain't
they
know?
did that moment in Rebels. Sorry, in Clone Wars.
They did. You're right.
They did that moment. And it was good. The scene, you can watch the scene on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It when Ahsoka realizes that, because she had the same moment where she was fighting Vader.
Pretty
not
much.
Realizing that was her master.
Anytime they do a scene where whoever knew Anakin realizes he's Darth Vader is always good. But seeing it live action was pretty cool in Obi-Wan. Yeah. So maybe I would say they're the same. They're
close.
The Anakin Vader scenes in Ahsoka.
McGregor's a great actor though.
Right.
So
and
he
then
really
the
pulled that off.
Vader Anakin scenes in Obi-Wan were on par, but I really like them both. So more Anakin. I'll take it. Even if he's a Force ghost.
Was there anything you didn't like about the show?
I'm still chewing on the ending. I did not dislike, I'll give it this. I like the fact that I didn't see it coming. But I think what makes me unsettled is the fact we don't know if or when all these loose ends are going to tie up. So that might be my own personal thing. I love when you hit me with I didn't see that coming. Oh, for real? That's what you going to do? This is over? There's no after credit scene?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I appreciate it. I can respect it.
We don't know if it's going to get a second season or not. And we also don't know if there's going to be another Rebels live action season coming. Because after the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, I think it dropped out of the top 10 original series. So the viewership tanked.
The Nielsen numbers are so really far behind. I think week 4 or episode 4 just got released, like those numbers, and it didn't pick back up. I'm curious to see the numbers for episode 5 because that was the Anakin Skywalker episode.
And Bob Iger's putting everything on the cutting room floor. So if this doesn't bring in the ratings that it needs to, they just may not move forward with it.
I think, listen, I'm sticking to my guns that the next Ahsoka thing will be Dave Filoni's movie.
Or... I mean, that's if he gets it. It hasn't even entered pre-production yet, so they have time to cancel.
None of them have. There's 3 Star Wars movies coming out, and one of them are not going to probably make it.
I could also see them just continue going back to the animated and finishing it off. Because that's how it started. I could see them putting all those Rebels characters right back into animation because that's where they started for like so many seasons.
That would be interesting to go animated, live action, and back to animated.
It'd be better than not doing anything at all.
Listen, they're not going. There are 2. Listen, 2. I need to know what Baylan doing. I need to know what Shin doing. I need to know if Ahsoka get back home. I need to know if they'll kill Thrawn.
And Shin's also there, so that's why I think that they still have a villain. They still have Rey Stevenson and Shin in the other galaxy with Ahsoka and
they can
Sabine.
just stay over there.
They could stay over there because they have their own bad guy. Because technically, Thrawn is not an Ahsoka bad guy. Thrawn is a Rebels bad guy.
He's a Star Wars bad guy.
Or
just a general.
Well, I guess. Yeah, he's everybody bad guy.
Right.
So, yeah.
It would be I would be very interested to see how they split, if they do split. It's not a bad idea. I am interested in how these loose threads tie up so much that I would watch whatever.
Do you feel like it was more Rebels than it was Ahsoka's own thing?
No.
No?
No. It was still, and I was kind of worried about that because when the first 2 episodes came out, early reviewers were saying how Sabine, like this feels like a Sabine show. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm kind of watching this for Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, so I kind of hope not. And to me, I feel like I got a good healthy dose. It seemed always to be Ahsoka centered, except maybe one episode where it seemed like it kind of more focused on Sabine and Ezra, maybe for a good chunk.
I think had they not incorporated the Anakin stuff, it would have felt like a Rebel show.
Okay.
I feel like the Anakin stuff,
Made it
Ahsoka and
Ahsoka-centered.
Anakin stuff made it kept it Ahsoka
Ahsoka
centered.
centered.
Yeah.
Fair. You're probably right.
Because it seemed like she never dealt with. It seems like mentally and
Mhm.
emotionally, she never dealt with the fact that Anakin was Darth Vader. She
Right.
knew it,
Right.
but she just never like
That's
accepted it.
That's why those moments, whenever they do that whole, either you got to accept it or you learn that the bad guy, the bad guy is the guy you used to know, are always so good.
So, was there a favorite moment in the show?
The Darth Vader.
All the Darth Vader stuff. All the Anakin stuff.
All the Anakin Darth Vader stuff was my favorite for sure. It's just he's so freaking menacing when he's Darth Vader. And you're just kind of like, this kid that I'm looking at is a murderer, but he's so good as a villain.
I liked all of the Ahsoka Ray Stevenson's fights.
Yes,
they had the best lightsaber fights.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a moment that I disliked. I don't think there was anything that I disliked. There were some moments that were slow, but nothing that I was like, oh, I hate this.
I didn't really have any. I'm trying to think, is there something I would have cut out? I don't think so.
I would have spent less time with the Star Whales. I feel like
you didn't like Purgles?
I like the Star Whales.
Mm-hmm.
I liked them.
Yeah.
I feel like a whole episode on her figuring out how to use them was a waste of an episode. That's where I would have cut.
Okay. I would have took less of the I know they're not turtles. What are they? Crustaceans? I don't know what they were. The little creatures on the
little things with the shells. I like those.
They were cute, but I mean, okay.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, then they would have had nothing. I would have, you know what I would have preferred?
They would have had nothing for Ezra to do.
I would have preferred they get over there and Thrawn has Ezra imprisoned. And they have to,
get him out of prison.
Sabine and Ahsoka have to find a way to break him out of the starship that
But that
Thrawn
would have
has.
been typical, though. The fact that he was living on the same planet but couldn't do anything, and he knew his enemy was just...
I just found it strange that Thrawn knows that he's out there, and
what was he gonna do?
What they do, they were like, okay, well, I guess we're both stuck. Let's go our separate ways and live on the same planet and not
interact.
Even though you got me stuck here,
I'm just gonna let you
go. It's
your
fault. I'm gonna just let you live peacefully and not pursue you for the 5 years that we're both stuck here.
That is a bit of a plot hole, because the last in Rebels you see Ezra kind of entangling Thrawn in the Purgles, and they kind of zip off to wherever they go to this planet. But you do kind of wonder, when they land wherever they land, do they just like run opposite directions?
Yeah, like what? And Thrawn has a whole army and somehow 3 witches, and he still let Ezra live in peace.
I would have liked to see a flashback episode of how Thrawn rose to his essential power on the planet. Because he got a whole army. He got the witches. His ship is big as crap, and it's still operational.
It's a Star Destroyer.
So, I mean, I guess it didn't get damaged in transit. So I guess that's fine.
But
where did he get all them stormtroopers from?
I like the fact that Thrawn was like, I don't really care about going after Ezra because I'm trying to get out of here. I like the fact that he was like that once they had a plan to get home.
He was like, let's go.
I did not understand why he had not already tried to kill Ezra.
Yeah. I don't know. You're right. And Ezra's a Jedi who got him stuck there. And he was just kind of like, all right, he out there somewhere. I got things to do.
He had the Force, but he had no lightsaber.
Maybe he didn't. I guess he didn't think he was a thret.
I don't know. I still would have killed him. Even if I didn't think you were a threat, you got me stuck here. I would have. And you have a whole army of unkillable stormtroopers who can just be resurrected whenever they're down.
And the witches easily could tell where Jedi were.
And the witches on
the planet.
They just never answer why he never went after Ezra those 5 years they were both stuck there. I wish we would have got an answer for that.
It was a bit odd. When they send Sabine out there, he's kind of like, they send Sabine to go find Ezra, and then they go tell Baylan and Shin, now go find him and kill him. I'm like, why? Yeah, he been out here chilling this whole time.
It just seems like as smart, and he was very smart.
Yeah.
As smart as they made Thrawn, I feel like it would have been smarter for him to be like, you got me stuck here.
Right.
I'm going to keep you prisoner.
Right.
Because I know your friends are going to come for you.
Yeah.
Because I've studied everything about your friends and I know all of their backgrounds. And I
Right.
know that none of them are strong enough to let you go.
Right. Although it seems as though what he did not know was about Ahsoka.
Which I guess because she was not in Rebels
at that point.
And Thrawn did not know her.
Okay.
I like the fact that she was nobody saw her coming. He didn't see her coming.
No, and Morgan was like, "Oh, we good. Nobody followed us." And then he showed up. And he was like, "Now nobody did what now?
Right?
Because who is this?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he definitely looked at her.
So I like the fact that she was like an unknown variable that kind of threw the plans off. But I wish they would have answered that.
You're right. That is a bit of a plot hole. But other than that, I don't think I have too many. I think we went through all our qualms.
Yeah,
I don't think I have anything that stood out that I was like, oh, I don't like this. They shouldn't have did this. But it's good. I really want them to tie up all them loose ends. I can't. I need it. I need it all to come. It's like District 9 ending, and I don't know if they came back to save him and turn him back into a human.
And that should tell you that they may not.
Where?
Because we never got another District 9.
Back?
So,
did he come back? We'll never know. He's still an alien to this day.
Who we recommend this to? It's on par with all Star Wars stuff. So
I would recommend
Star Wars stuff. Absolutely watch this.
With the asterisk disclaimer, you need to watch some sort of recap,
at least a YouTube breakdown
of Rebels. Mm-hmm. Do not proceed if you don't know anything about Rebels,
because it's going to be very confusing. And the way the writing is, and the way the characters talk, they talk as if you should already know.
Oh yeah,
what's going on?
Absolutely.
And who are these people are?
And I wonder if people watched the first couple episodes and then were like, I don't know, I can't follow, and kind of gave up. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that has something to do with the viewership. So I recommend it if you already are into Star Wars, but do yourself a favor and at least do a little Rebel catch up first.
Yep.
So that wraps up our recap review of Ahsoka. Next week I don't even know, because we are getting a little dry.
So Goosebumps is supposed to come out by the time
Goosebumps
comes out. So
now wait. What's on our list?
So we have a review for Reptile on Netflix, which I think we're scrapping because...
Are we scrapping it? Have we officially declared it scrapped?
It has been called a dud by everybody.
But
it's not received well. And it says it plays very typically. I might still watch it, but I don't know if there's enough interest in it to cover it.
If you are listening to this and you are dying for us to review Reptile, go ahead and let us know.
But it is our mid-October episode.
Okay.
And it is spooky season. We don't have any other spooky season stuff on the list. So I think I'm going to take a look at Goosebumps.
The first couple episodes come out on Friday the 13th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be the first 4 episodes.
Okay. Friday the 13th in October.
Part of Huluween. They're supposed to come out on Hulu. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I might watch it too. I might check it and make sure it's not too scary for me.
Yeah. And I'm going to start season 1 of Castlevania Nocturne.
I started season 1 of the original Castlevania. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused about the time jump, but don't tell me.
Okay.
Because the first episode plays, I'm like, okay, cool. Second episode starts and I'm like,
so for people who don't know,
where did we go?
Castlevania is about Dracula.
It's an anime.
It's a Netflix original anime.
Okay.
I'm going to start season 1 of Castlevania Nocturne now that they've confirmed today that it's getting a season 2.
I did see that.
And there are so many black vampires in Nocturne.
Oh, really?
Like I think most of the villains in Nocturne are black vampires.
Okay. I'm sold.
Black and Native American vampires.
I'm sold.
But the first series of Castlevania is about Dracula, the vampire. And the first episode pretty much introduces you to Dracula and his motivation. And then afterwards, every episode after that is about the other characters.
Okay.
Trying to figure out a way to defeat Dracula.
I've started watching Castlevania on Jared's recommendation. I also want to get into The Changeling.
I hear that's good too.
That'll be my spooky season watch. That's about as scary as I'm gonna go. Oh, and Goosebumps.
I've already started my spooky season watch.
Oh Lord, what you got on deck?
I watched Talk to Me.
Oh, you did. You can't see him, but he's shaking his head.
It was not scary. I mean, it was on par with like a scary supernatural, otherworldly ghost
you
thing.
You said the word supernatural.
I have never been more frustrated.
Oh, really?
From a main character in my entire
life. Are they teenagers, kids?
Yes.
Oh,
I literally wanted to reach through my screen.
Oh, wow.
And strangle so many people. I have never been so frustrated watching people that you're supposed to root for.
Do you think it's on purpose?
Yes.
Oh.
Because the movie is a metaphor for kids doing drugs.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So Talk to Me is about...
Don't spoil it.
I'm just the plot.
Okay.
Talk to Me is about this hand.
Yes, I got that part.
That if you shake hands with it, it's supposed to allow you to commune with the dead.
I picked up that much at least.
And that's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie is about these kids who get together.
Like a Ouija board party.
Yeah, and have like this party where they all take turns holding hands and talking to the dead and getting possessed by the dead. And the movie is supposed to be a metaphor about drug use and what happens when you get into a group of when you
get into the wrong crowd.
When you get into the wrong crowd and start doing the same things that they're doing and the individual consequences on your own life.
Oh wow.
So
sounds deep.
That it lands the message.
Okay, it sticks the landing.
Boy, are these people frustrating. The most frustrating characters in my entire life.
I don't know. When you started shaking your head, I'm like, was it a bad movie? So anything else on my list? No, I'm not going to add anything else to my list because then I'll not watch.
You should watch My Bloody Valentine
on my list. Okay, that'll be my real spooky season movie then.
It's not spooky, but okay.
It's not spooky to you.
Okay.
But it might be spooky to I'm a scaredy cat. So.
Okay.
All right. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to leave us a review if you are on Spotify or Apple. Mm-hmm. Send us an email at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com if you have any suggestions about topics, a movie you want us to talk about. Just want to say how much you love our show. And say congratulations because we made it to 10 episodes. Yay. We'll take that too. But yeah, don't forget to share with your friends, anybody else who you think might like our podcast.
All right. And we will see you guys next episode.
Bye.